Last and final segment of our wedding video. We've finished assembling the wedding video at 1 hour and 8 minutes. Last and final segment is review and color correcting. So this is extremely important. We're going to start with dancing. That tends to be the easiest part. Now, what we're about to do is exclusive for a one camera edit. There actually are two cameras here, so we have to keep track of that and edit them separately. We're going to open up Adobe's color correcting panel over here. And what we're basically looking to do is bring these colors to somewhat normal levels. So we have our color charts over here. We are, hold on, let me get my project back over here. We're going to create ourselves an adjustment layer. Alright, and we're just going to stick it on up over there, over that clip for right now. And we're going to try to make this clip look normal. We're not going for any special effects or anything crazy. We just want the clip to look normal. Let's make sure that clip is above everything. Good. So, and let's do it. So even though I had two cameras, the two cameras are very similar. They're a Panasonic GH4 and a Panasonic G7. They shoot very similarly, and I almost always have them set to similar color profiles and to similar settings. So the look we get out of one should be what we need out of the other, but we're going to have to double check that. So the first thing I see here is I need my exposure to go way up. So we're going to go till about there, and then we're going to increase the contrast, let's say to 50%, and the shadows are way down there at the bottom, so we're gonna bring some of those shadows and blacks just right out of that bottom range, but not by a lot. Okay, and you could already see this was the original clip. This is the clip we have now. Now, I'm not ready to consider this final just yet. Let's find another clip, say something of the men, and let's drag this over. Give it a second. Oh, haha. My elementary color went on the actual clip, not on the adjustment layer. Let's fix that. There we go. And back to our scopes over here. So this one here is going to drop too bright, so we're going to tone it down to 1.8. Now remember, I'm still adjusting the adjustment layer itself. Maybe even 1.5. Right, if I turn that on and off, what happens if we go to 0.5? No, that's 1.2. I think that looks about right. I think I want to add a little bit more contrast, but just a drop. Go from 100% to 115%. And now we're just going to go back to that other clip and just make sure that it looks okay. Let's find a spot where I was using a different lens. So right about here, and drag it over to there, and let's see what it does to it. So the men's clips seem to be a drop brighter than the ladies' clips. So, but they're not peeking out. They're manageable. I do think they could go just a tad towards the orange. Just a drop. Remember, I'm still adjusting everything together. Let's just see if we take that away. Okay, I'm comfortable with this. It's viewable. Nothing's really completely overexposed, although some stuff is out. It seems like the ladies are a little bit darker than the men, so we're gonna deal with that in a moment. We've also only been dealing with our main camera. Remember, we're just taking this to the beginning of dancing, this adjustment layer. So now we're gonna start seeing clips with the other camera. That looks good. That does not look good. Those clips I'm gonna color separately. But let's at least go to the beginning of the actual dance. Just to show you the difference again, if we turn this off versus what we have now. So again, we're just looking to try to make it as if you were there. I don't need a perfect cinematic look or absolutely perfect colors. I mean, there's all sorts of lighting. They had colored lighting in the room. They had disco lighting at certain points. We want it to be clear and that you can see it.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our Hassan and Kawa, Naftali and Shayna.
Alright, that's it. The colors look nice. They look full. That's it. These look good. Alright, let's move on. Let's go to our... as I said before, from the beginning of dancing through the end, we're pretty much in the same room using the exact same settings on the cameras. You know, from time to time I have to make small adjustments, but I'm going for the same kind of look. And what should happen is we should be able to just click anywhere and see a decent picture. That's ultimately what we want to see. This should be able to go right through to the end. Once we get it through that clip, and after that clip we are back to this point. Alright, that's it. You should be able to just click on anything, any point, anywhere, and see something with nice colors. We're going to save our work there. Next, let's go for the... Let's see what else we have. So we're going to take, again, segments at a time. So let's take this one here. And again, we're going to... This one I don't know for sure if I want to add an adjustment layer just yet. Because we did have two very different cameras, but they kind of look similar to me right now, except that this camera here is a little more blue, this one's a little more orange. So we may have to make some separate adjustments, but the contrast and brightness kind of look similar. So we're going to start again using that adjustment layer effect. So let's go to... We'll start with this clip here. Alright, where this is going to be... This one has a lot of color, and it's going to be something that we'll put in there. And again, let's just put our adjustment layer and put it over this entire segment, which goes until right there in the footage. And we're going to try a similar thing, because we're going to try similar to what we had by dancing. It should be somewhat similar. Raise that a little bit. I think it's a drop on the orange side, but I'm not going to do anything with that yet because it's actually not. You know, as you scroll through it, you start seeing different things. Now, I'm going to make the adjustment layer not affect just the points where we had this other camera. So this other camera here was kind of a consumer level camera where you just gotta... yes, there are other ways to do exactly what I'm doing here. We could just... I'm actually going to do it a different way. So let's take our clip, and we're going to 1.2 on the brightness, we're going to 50% on the contrast, we're raising the shadows 1 and the blacks 0.5 and the saturation to 115. So this was our setting. The saturation being raised does not look flattering on the bride, so we're going to leave it down for this point. We're going to copy that clip and we're going to paste its attributes to the rest of the clips only from the main camera in that segment. So paste attributes, just the color, nothing else. And now we should have color that looks pretty good. I'm not going to play too much with this other camera because it is a consumer level camera, so as long as we're scrolling through it and, you know, these clips, I'm looking at the walls and I'm just looking at the orange walls kind of look similar, and that will work for me. Over here, this again is our main camera. This was that little segment before the main ceremony starts. We're going to try just pasting the same effect. And nope, that's not going to work over there. So for this section, we're going to have to do a little more custom edit. Let's first do the actual main ceremony. So again, once the ceremony begins, my colors should be pretty similar throughout. You know, over here it's a little bit darker because we're away from the main lighting, which is fine if it's darker in the final thing. Let's find a nice clip where you see the full ceremony from the main camera, you know, with its proper lighting. Also, let's just say this one here. This one, the second camera, should have been set to very similar settings. So we can... Let's just remember that clip. We could confirm that by going to here. Second camera kind of looks good. I don't know if I can make it any brighter. So we're just gonna play with the main camera again. So let's start with the same thing. Let's brighten it a little bit. I don't need as much contrast. The lighting here is giving me a kind of contrast that I like, so let's just go with 35 on the contrast. Highlights and blacks look good, so I'm gonna go with this look. Let's copy this, and now let's paste it onto the rest of just that main camera. So paste attributes, just the color look, and again we're just gonna skim through it. Looks kind of bright over there. Let's just make sure we did it right. He's a little too bright. So I'm gonna change what I do for the for the main ceremony. I'm actually not going to adjust the brightness much, because there are points like this where the brightness is pretty good. So for the main ceremony, I think we're just, well, here it gets a little darker. Here it's actually very dark. I'm happy I just noticed this clip. Let's bring that one up, add a lot more contrast, and we'll pull out some of the reds, add a little more orange, make it a little more natural looking. Let's see what we could do here. I'm going to go for one of the clips that are... Okay, so these bunch of clips are definitely... We'll start from the beginning. Okay, let's go in order. Let's get him underneath the canopy. This just needs to be a little bit brighter. Needs a little bit of contrast. And the blacks could go up a tad. And a little bit of orange, but not much. We're going to copy that, and actually don't want to just paste attributes yet, because if I paste those attributes to this clip here, it's probably going to get too orange. No. Okay, that works. Let's find that clip again. Paste attributes to all these. Again, this is our next clip right here. Let's just find where the main ceremony starts getting a little darker. Or we could do something else. Again, there's no right way to do this. Oh, and I almost forgot that all this is really main ceremony as well. Our main ceremony actually goes until right there. But we don't want... Nope, did that wrong. We want to go from this clip straight through to the end. Just not including that second camera, which I didn't want to touch. So paste attributes, elementary color. And again, we're just going to scroll through and make sure that we have a nice picture. This was a dark ceremony. It's okay if on the other end it stays a little dark. What you want to do, once you get the general color, you do want to skim through, and we're going to get to that in a moment. So that's our general color. You'll see these ending shots are definitely going to need a different kind of color. So once they get out of the main room, once they get to here, so these last few shots, we're going to color a little differently. So these just need a little more red and a little less orange. And this one's going to be too bright, but also just a little more red. And then over here also just... that should be good. This clip here, we'll make it a little brighter and a little more contrast. Next clip, just a little bit of orange, otherwise the colors are nice. This one here could be brighter and a lot more contrast. Details of the wedding can actually get away with a lot of color correcting. And this looks a little bit green and a little bit dark. And this one here could use some orange, a lot of contrast, and a little brightness. And then we're up to dancing, which we did in one go. Next, going back to the beginning. So again, the beginning segments should all be able to roll with very similar kind of things. So let's find something with hair. This is, you see some skin tones here, so this will be a good one to try to make work. Let's raise that and add contrast. He looks a drop green. There we go. I kind of like the way that looks. I'm going to raise the black just a teeny drop. That one kind of looks good. We're going to see if we could do this using the adjustment layer method. We might be able to, we might not. Let's just see. Let's grab my color that I did for this section and cut it. And just to recap here, what we're looking for is just going through segments that were meant to go together. So right over here, I believe, starts something that we've already color corrected. This clip here is something that we have not. So we want the adjustment layer to go up until that point. And let's paste our effect. And you see that? Look at the difference. Turn it off, turn it on. That looks beautiful. We just want to kind of check the red clips. The red clips did not work with this. All the green clips did. So we're not going to go with the adjustment layer method. Instead, copy. We're going to do this differently. We're going to select an entire label group. Remember in the beginning I said how labeling everything together is going to help us a lot later on. Now we can paste something just to the green group. And now let's go to the red group. So let's find a nice clip. Okay, this one here. What are these oranges? Okay, so these clips are kind of dark, but I don't want to mess with the color too much. So we're just going to add a little brightness to them and a little bit of contrast. And let's copy this effect. And now we're actually going to delete the color from this clip. Select the entire label group. So now we have all the pinks. Paste attributes. Just elementary color. And done. Alright. So I should be able to go onto any pink and see pretty decent color. Alright, that's decent. She's away from the main stage, so it's okay if that is a little bit darker. Alright, next we did green. We did not do these blues. Blues were wedding details. So these we're just going to do individually because they were all shot at different times. So this one we'll just add some contrast to. And maybe pull out some orange a little bit. This one we'll make a little brighter and add some contrast to. Brightness and contrast. Most of this is just going to be brightness and contrast. So much brighter, a lot of contrast. Let's go to the end of this clip so that we can see it better. It looks a little bit green. Brightness, contrast, a lot of contrast. Kind of looks good. I'm still getting a little too much green in there. That kind of looks good. This one looks a little too orange. Right? Just kind of want the food to look normal colors. I'm kind of eyeing the fruit back there. I guess the cookies are really the main shot over here. You could use this dropper and select something that's white and see what it does. That kind of works. Okay. This clip actually looks good the way it is. We'll just add a little more contrast and move on. This one could use a little brightness and some contrast. This one also, all these clips of similar things are going to have to be corrected similarly. There you go, you see the color of the strawberries just come out. That's the original, the way we shot it, and that's the after. And again with these flowers, that's it. You just bring them to life with the color. A little bit of brightness. You don't want to make white too bright, but you can add a lot of contrast, and now look at the difference. It comes alive. I don't think we corrected these orange clips yet. These orange clips were just clips. I think they're all like in the ladies section, but before the bride actually came out. Again, we'll kind of take one and make it work. These look like they need a little more contrast, and maybe a tad off the orange. Not going to worry too much about these clips because they were actually shot well before the wedding. And let's delete the color from that clip. Paste sorry. We're going to select the entire label group again. And once we select the entire label group, we will paste attributes, just elementary color, and that should take care of this entire beginning section. I should be able to click on any clip, any color, and it should just look okay. We did this section. This section here I wanted to give a little bit of individual attention to. So for example, this will make brighter. This one will make a lot brighter. And pull out some orange from it. Now here, I just had the camera on the wrong setting, so he's kind of a little bit green. We just want to bring back the normal looking skin. And now we should be able to apply that, well, not to this clip. Okay, we're just going to do this. Her gown should be white, so you can, I don't want it to be so white, but there. We've corrected that. We can kind of do that again here. Again, I don't want it to be so as white as Adobe's making it. I want to have a little bit more orange in it. Add some contrast and brightness. And adjust the colors slightly. Now this clip, for the next few, so this to here. We can paste the effect that we got from the other clip in the same room, because they should just all be the same. And now we're back to this. This kind of looks good the way it is. So just add a little contrast, a little brightness, a little contrast, and a little bit off the orange. And one more. This one we're going to add a little bit to the orange, and then we are up to the main ceremony. This clip we had pasted an effect onto, but I think it needs a little bit of adjusting. And that should take care of the whole wedding with one small exception. So again, we should be able to skim through this and kind of see normal colors at every section. The only thing that's left to do now is the ending. Again, all these clips were shot together and should be kind of similar. This looks very green. We could also probably add a warp stabilizer right through all these clips. Brighten it, not that much. Add some contrast. Actually, don't only want to add a teeny drop of brightness. And then we're going to sort of play with the colors to get a look we like. Let's see, here's the original, kind of flat, and here's the new, a little bit of life in there. Let's bring this one way up, they're all the way out there, and this one, well, you don't want to do it where the camera's flashing. This one, we can add a lot of contrast to that. We can even add more than 100% to really bring it out. And a little more brightness and a little bit off the orange. Now just to show you the difference again, this was the original shot as we shot it. So we did shoot it flat, we kind of did that on purpose. And lastly, this shot, again, much brighter, a little more orange, much more contrast, and look how much life it just gave that picture. Here's the original. You know, you can see their faces, you can see everything about them, and now the only thing we have to do is that snapshot that we did has to have the exact same effect. So we're going to paste those attributes, just elementary color. Yeah, we actually have to take the warp stabilizer off this last one, or the effect with the picture isn't going to work. I also want to make one change. See, when you're going over it, you find certain changes. I don't like her expression in this photo, so we're going to switch it to the expression of this photo. So let's import that into the project. And this should be it. Put it right there. And the trick here is to go one frame back from that, and let's see. So fade that out like we had before. A very slow fade. Bring it to the same point, and that's it. And the video will end with that. And that sounded good to me. The last thing we're going to do, and I'm not going to record this, but you just need to play the video again from the beginning. You could use Adobe's effects to play it in double speed. So an hour video will take 30 minutes to go through. You just do it one time. You know, you roll through the whole thing, and you just make sure that things look okay. Like, for example, this clip right here. I think we could get away with a stabilizer on there. I could be wrong, but I think we can. And that's what I'm going to be doing now. I'm just going to go through the whole thing, and then I'm going to export. So, well, actually, one thing I forgot to do. We're going to put the company splash screen. Here, we'll just get it from the end. Copy that and bring it up to the front. There we go. Alright, let's see how we did with that warp stabilizer. Alright, where was it? I think it was this clip. Right. Watch it at double speed, skim through the whole thing, make sure it looks good, and when you're done, we're exporting. Again, I'm not exporting it this second, but I will be exporting it soon, and the way we export Creative 1080 videos is, at least in Adobe, I just find that the preset for Vimeo HD kind of works. It tends to always look good. It has a nice bit rate. It's designed with a higher than usual bit rate so that when it gets, where is it in video, the bit rate is a little bit higher than you'd ever need, 16, so that when it actually gets uploaded online, the compression won't make you lose quality. Where's our video? Right. And again, and this time right here is another good time where you could just kind of skim through and make sure your colors worked. I also just noticed that my in and out points are set incorrectly. You want, a lot of times I'll have footage past the wedding, so we just want to make sure that we're only exporting that segment. I'm going to include a link to this fully edited video as the next segment. Feel free to let me know how you think I did, and feel free to ask me any questions, and I hope we could do this again with some other videos as well.